Yo, what's up? It's your boy Zach,
What's up? It's Wandile.
and you're listening to the QuaranTEA. Yo, what's up? It's your boy Zach, joined with my co-host Wandile. Say how's it?
What's up, people?
What's up, bro? And we back here for the second episode of the QuaranTEA Lockdown Podcast. How's that, bro? Back for our second episode. That's quite mad.
Can't believe it, bro. Can't believe it.
Technically, it's episode 4, but for the sake of the viewers, it's episode 2 because this is the second episode that is being posted to the iTunes store.
Hopefully.
I'm sure it will get. I'm sure it'll get accepted.
There's no further issues, but
it's kind of mad that our podcast is actually on the Apple Podcast Store here.
Yeah, it's surprisingly not that hard to get on there.
Obviously, the standards are extremely low. But you know what? We'll take that.
They obviously saw our names and they recognized that we've got clout, you know.
Yeah, so they might have checked the grams.
They might have checked the grams. Like, who are these guys? Let's just give them a search real quick. And yeah,
we made the cut there. Well, somehow we finessed our way into the Apple Podcast Store, and we're here now. And I mean, maybe we'll be on the Spotify store soon. Who knows? It's definitely a goal. Spotify is a little bit harder to get on, but I'm sure we can pull some strings.
Stay tuned. You know,
pull some strings for that. But yeah. Anyway, bro. So level 3. Let's talk about level 3. Lockdown level 3.
Well, South Africa is headed to level 3 from the 1st of June, right?
It's fast approaching level 3. So the difference between level 3 and level 4 is basically you can buy alcohol again, which is great.
Most important thing for everyone.
And B is that you can exercise any time of the day. So that's quite cool. Don't have to wake up at 5 o'clock anymore. That if anyone knows, Wandile now knows that we've been doing that every day since the beginning of lockdown. Am I right?
6 a.m. run. Nice
6 a.m. run.
That's sunrise, you know what I'm saying?
You know, early bird catches the worm, as they say. Obviously, Wandile and I are very productive individuals. So we wake up early, do our daily runs.
Very healthy, productive individuals.
Very healthy, productive individuals. Yeah, no, for sure. I couldn't have said it better myself, to be fair. But no, that's all jokes. No, that's all jokes. Man did no case. Man has been in bed every day, sleeping in until 2 minutes before I'm supposed to be working.
I feel like I've done a couple Ks. From my bedroom to the kitchen is quite a distance, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I've done a couple Ks each day.
I mean, I don't even know if I've been to the kitchen. I've been out of my bed to my desk, pull up the laptop, start working, back to bed.
You're like 2 steps away from the kitchen, so I feel like definitely.
That is also very true. That is very, very true. And it's a little bit of a problem sometimes. But, you know, it comes with its pros and cons at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. But a lot of people now are heavily awaiting the 1st of June because obviously now they can exercise any time of the day and it's winter now. So that's
a good point, bro. It's getting cold.
Big thing.
So that is going to help a lot. I mean, now we can go for nice strolls, you know, on the promenade. See the waves crashing at the beach. Not on the beach, though, because I think that might still be illegal.
Why would you go? Like, have you felt that ocean breeze?
Yeah, it's a bit chilly here.
It's a bit chilly for that. Like, that would hit you hard.
But, you know, we're also living in Durban. And for listeners that are living pretty much anywhere else in the world, or even in South Africa, their winters are normally a lot worse than ours. Because we have quite nice winters here in Durban. It doesn't get too cold. For us, it does. For us, it gets freezing. But for most people, it's not very cold at all. You know what's crazy about this whole level 3 thing is that I see that Cape Town did not get knocked at level 4. They're also going down. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I feel like they should have gone up. I feel like Cyril should have just, you know what, Cape Town, your O's are weak. You can't stay at home. Tune, yes. Level 5, right there. Bang. The rest of South Africa, level 4, level 3, cool. Then Cape Town, level 5. Back to level 5, stay inside, everything. I feel like that's what he should have said because honestly, they don't know how to behave. They don't know how to behave.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know what the real reason is that Cape Town is so much worse. Maybe it's because of all the townships there, or maybe it's just
No,
people don't listen. I don't
like
know.
people just don't listen, man. Like they like yeah, I know. Like Durban, we don't listen either. I've plain and simple. I've gone around, like had a drive to the shops, and it's basically like a normal day. But like Cape Town is another level of, you know what, we don't care. We are gonna live.
I wonder if that's true. I mean, we've seen the Sea Point Promenade when they opened up. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because everyone's close together because a lot of people live like in the city, and you know,
Bro,
I
I
don't know
feel
what it
like Cape Town. You see, if YOLO was a person, it would be a Cape Town.
is.
It would be a Cape Town.
YOLO with a beard though.
YOLO. Yeah.
Oh.
No, but
Well, I mean, I hope for Cape Town's sake, and I guess for all of our sake, that they sort themselves out, because we need to go back there soon, and we can't be going back there if they've got more than half the cases in the whole country, you know?
yeah, I feel like because of the whole, I feel like we should be doing it like the States, where like every province gets like their own
state by state.
I know some places would obviously go down to like level 1, which is cool because they deserve it. They've been staying indoors. I feel like Durban would go down to level 3, but then I feel like we'd stay there for a long time, because we also don't listen as well. But like, we're better off than Cape Town.
I think we're better off. Yeah,
we're definitely better off, but I feel like we'd still also stay at level 3 for a long time. Then Cape Town, I reckon they would just bump up to level 5, which is.
I think it's because there's a lot of production and whatnot, and farming and that, and whatever,
and there's also those who just want to surf. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
true.
I know a couple
people
well. Just want, like our mates, just want surfs and golf and what.
Golf, bro. If I have to hear about golf one more time, what is everyone's fixation with golf? I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy a round of golf now and again, but I'm not obsessed with it. You know.
See, I'm not
an obsession.
It's not. I never grew up playing golf. Big shock, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? It's not a sport that you just thrown into. You know what I'm saying? But golf is a fun. Like you just smack a ball as hard as you can and try and aim at a hole. I feel like it's fairly simple to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy. It's not an easy sport to play, but like
that ball goes
the mindset
left and
behind
right
it,
and flipping
the
swings and whatnot, bro.
As long as you, if you've got power behind your swing, you know what I'm saying, it makes for a decent golfer. Like, I feel like, you know.
Listen, I feel like that's not true. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like a lot of people listening to this right now
seems to be a decent golfer.
Nah, but I don't know. I think he's gotten a lot better.
All I know, man,
but he never used to be great. But I think he has got a lot better.
The swing, I feel like
I think it helps. I think it helps having the power, but you have to learn how to channel it into the ball. You know, you have to keep your elbows straight. That's what I heard. Keep your elbows straight. Shout out to my man Carlisle, says you must put some towels under your arms,
right, just like
armpits, so that you keep the correct form.
Yeah, but Carlisle,
you know what I'm saying?
Playing
proper swing.
He's a pro.
Carlisle's pro. He's actually he's on the governing body at the Durban Country Club. So I mean that's quite an achievement.
I feel like man would be pro if he wasn't focusing on his career as a lawyer. You know, you see, man like Carlisle, big things there, big things.
Multi-talented character, I must say. Multi-talented individual. You can give Carlisle that. He's got many talents. You know, he's a brilliant speaker, brilliant lawyer, brilliant golfer. You know, he's
But where is 90% of law practiced? On the golf course.
That's a fact, bro.
So
I feel like about law though. I feel like you might have missed that analogy.
They spend a lot of time on the golf course. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know.
To clients, maybe I feel that
a lot of business.
If there's one thing shows like Suits have taught me, it's just a lot of time is spent on the golf course.
Do they play golf in Suits? Because I don't remember them being on the golf course.
They do like a couple episodes. He's gone
maybe,
but you know they also live in New York. It's not like it's like a big.
Yeah, I feel like there's not too many golf courses in New York City.
Every other time, they're there in the golf course.
But you know what the golf courses?
That's what I'm saying.
No, they do. A lot of our friends do. But you know the golf course is it's quite a dangerous place. I'm not gonna lie, and I've had an incident, a personal incident
Golf course is
back in the day. Good old Windsor golf course. Young Zach, about the age of maybe 8, 9. So, a young child on the Mashi course, not even the golf course. I didn't touch golf courses back then. Had my little young Tiger clubs, little Tiger Woods clubs, getting into the groove.
Of Tiger Woods clubs, or was it just like you just saying that it was your...
They were called Little Tiger. I mean, that's what they were called. I'm sure they got inspiration from Tiger Woods. But anyway, I had my clubs, my little bag, put the ball on the tee, push it into the ground. No better feeling, I must say, is when that tee just slips into the ground. At 8 years old, at 8 years old, I thought I had a promising career.
All them things.
I thought I had a promising golfing career at the age of 8. Nevertheless, we get on to like the 6th, 7th hole. I don't know, almost near the end, because I'm sure that the Mashi at Windsor is 9 holes, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, we get there. I tee up. Even though I don't think you're supposed to use like a tee when you're playing Mashi, but I also don't know how to play golf, so that's another thing to take into consideration. Put the ball up.
Know what Mashi
hit the ball.
Anyway.
Beautiful. So Matt. Anyway, let's moving on. Hit the ball, gliding through the air. I can picture it now. Landing, I'm sure, very near the green, because I'm pretty sure I was very talented back in my day, but who knows?
Okay.
So anyway, we're playing. Then we hear some commotion by the fence just outside the golf course, and this particular hole is very near the fence. So we hear some commotion, but you know what? It's South Africa, so there's a lot of.
Who
commotion.
were you with at the time?
I was with my stepdad Mark. We were playing a little bit of a bonding session.
Yeah.
So it was just me and him. Some commotion behind the gate. So obviously I'm a bit skeptical, thinking what's happening there? Don't worry, there's a fence, there's a gate, a fence that will protect me from whatever's happening on the other side. So as the time goes on, I hear a bottle being shattered, and I look across through the fence, and there's 3 individuals. And they are having a fight, but not just a fight with broken glass bottles.
Oh, jeez.
So these guys were like bleeding everywhere. Like it was quite a sight for a young. Oh, so
they've already begun the fight and started stabbing?
No, they've begun, bro. They're going at it. They're outside going at it. So I'm watching this and I'm like, nah, this isn't right. But you know what? Also, I've got a promising career in golf ahead of me, so let me focus on the game.
Wait. So did you actually carry on with the game after?
I carried on with the game because they were
going at it with bottles, and you choose no. You know what? Let me just hit this ball instead.
But they were on the other side of the fence. Let's be honest here. So I wasn't too concerned. I was like, let them do their thing. I'll do my thing. Different wavelengths and that. Let life go on. Playing the game. Next thing I know, at this point, Mark was quite far from me, like maybe 50, 60, 70 meters, I don't know, from me, standing by his ball, and I was by my ball. And I see a gap in the fence, and emerging from this gap in the fence is one of those guys who was fighting, like to the death, I might add, with broken glass bottles.
And he comes
to this man,
golf course.
This man gets on the golf course, looks around, looks at me, and then starts running at me. So, I don't know if you ever had an experience like this where, like adrenaline just kicks in and you don't really know what to do. Like you're just acting on adrenaline. So this guy's coming at me like full of blood, like with a broken glass bottle, and I'm like, no, like I'm going to die right now. So anyway, as he comes closer to me, he's shouting at me, but I don't understand what he says. And I realized afterwards what he was saying is he was asking me to lend him one of my golf clubs so that he can go and he can go and knock out the other guys. Obviously, a golf club would win in a fight against a bottle.
But it was the baby book.
So no, but they weren't. I was 8, bro. I wasn't 2. They were like decent length. But anyway, so as he's running towards me, I take like the bag and it's on wheels, and I just like throw this thing into him, like push it into him.
Oh, you didn't even run. You started.
No, I pushed the clubs into him because I didn't want the clubs. I was like, you want the clubs? Take them. Like I pushed the clubs into him and then I ran the other direction. So now this guy takes a stick or not a stick, a club, and he starts running towards the other guys who are now also in the golf course. And now he wants to hit these other guys with my stick, with my club. So Mark's like, fam, these are new flipping little tiger clubs. Give me that club back. So now Mark and this character with my golf club are having a full-on argument. And Mark is saying, you better give that golf club back, using some other type of language. Asking to get these clubs back in one piece.
Man, like,
and Mark is arguing with the guy who's... No, Mark didn't throw hands, but he arguing with the guy who has a weapon ready and has blood all over him. Having a full-on argument with these guys. Then the other two guys, because there was three, are also like in this whole situation. So it's like a four-way argument. The two people that were fighting originally were like, we want to like kill you, basically, not Mark, the other guy. Yeah. And then Mark is like, okay, do what you want, but give me my golf club back. And then there's little 8-year-old me looking like, yo, like this is flipping traumatic. I'm like, I'm fearing for my life. There's like, bro, the worst thing about it was there was this big butt, like this Afrikaans butt right next to us in the hole, like right next to us. And he's standing there watching, bro. Watching. Doesn't do anything. Watch. This guy has been flipping, listening to Afrikaans music, chowing boerewors his whole life, pop, all these things, ready for an opportunity like this. And his time comes, and this man is not ready. He just watches.
Word.
Just watches. So anyway, thank goodness for Mark. He somehow diffused the situation. We got the golf club back. And then this Afrikaans guy decides to come up and say, "Oh, what's going on? Like, is everything okay? Like, is everything okay, man? What the heck? What do you expect?"
Oh my word!
So anyway, we got our golf clubs back, but I might add that they were completely saturated in blood, which was not fun to clean up.
That's a very traumatic thing to experience as an 8-year-old.
Bro, it was a madness, bro. It was, I even remember changing my my BBM status to just got holed up on the golf course, and no one replied. So obviously they must have thought that I was just saying like, "Oh, is it the golf course?"
You should have taken a picture of the bloody golf clubs and be like,
"I know, bro. I was waiting for that BBM message. I didn't get nothing from that status." And back on BBM days, when you updated your status, it would there would be a notification thing, and it would show people that you updated your status. Oh, good times.
Remember when it used to tell people what music you're listening to? At the time,
that's true.
That's all the trash music people listen to.
That's true. Oh, that was good, bro. Oh, I remember that. BBM was the days, bro. And
South Africa isn't a safe place, though. Like after that story, it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, well, South Africa isn't the safest. I think we know that, but it's got a lot of good too.
A lot of 8-year-olds out here experiencing bloody death fights with bottles and golf clubs.
But it makes for a good story, though.
But I also have a story about some violence. Well, almost violence. Basically.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Basically, I did get mugged. Actually, I'm gonna say I did get mugged. It's not like an almost mugging. It's not an almost mugging. I did get mugged, but it wasn't like a full mugging either. And I'm going to go into the story. It happened in town, and Durban town, right? Durban CBD.
Oof.
Not the safest of places, but that's where we used to preach.
You don't want to be there.
That's where we used to do street work back in the day. Back when we were still allowed to, before the COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? So we go.
Good old days.
So we go, now we finished with street work. It's around 5 o'clock. I think 4 or 5 o'clock we finished with street work. Me and my brother, Londa. Not a shout out to Londa. Actually, I'm not going to shout this man out. Because
shout out Londa.
I'm going to tell you why I'm not. It's a part of the story. This is why I'm not.
Okay.
So basically, me, him, and another mate of ours, actually his mates, we finished street work now. Now we have to walk to the taxis, right? So taxis have different stations everywhere. I'm sure many people know that, where they basically pick up people. And we decided to go pass by a store, like a sweet shop. and buy like a cool drink for ourselves to drink. It's been a long day in the street work. You're like, you know what?
You've earned that drink, you know?
We've earned a drink, you know what I'm saying? And it was back when man wasn't legal to buy an alcoholic beverage. So we bought ourselves a young Fanta, you know what I'm saying?
Was it a grape or orange?
It was an orange thing. These other they didn't like the grape.
The
grape is elite.
though.
The grape is elite, but
it's the best flavor by
They
far.
wanted the Fanta orange. So you know what?
That's where the problem started, obviously.
Problem started there. 2 against 1, Fanta orange. Okay, cool. So we're walking now. 3 of us are walking, headed to the taxis. And this guy comes up to us, very dodgy looking, as I might say, like very dodgy looking, carrying some para vibes with him, if you know what a para is. A para is, to all our non-South African listeners, a para basically is a shortened version of parasites. It was a name given to all the street beggars who might also dabble in a little bit of criminal activity. So basically, so that's some background behind the para situation. So basically, we're walking now. This guy approaches us. He's like, "Listen, can I have a sip of cool drink?" I'm like,
did he ask you for a sip?
Did
he ask you or Londa though?
He asked us all. He was just like, but Londa was carrying the thing, the Fanta orange at the time. He was drinking. So this guy asked for a sip of Fanta, and I'm like, okay, Londa, hurry up. We're gonna just take a sip. And then I told his mate to take a sip. Then I took the final sip, and I was like, yeah, you can have this full thing, right? I'm like, hurry up, gents. Let's leave.
So you gave it to
because I'm like, you know what? I didn't want, because basically I didn't want to stop and like give him a sip, and then like I don't want that from him.
Get you.
I'm like, you know what? Let's just all have our final sips, give it to him quickly, and let's leave. Like this, let's leave the situation. So we all have our final sips quickly, then we leave. Right? We think we leave him behind. By the way, carry on walking. We split off from Londa's friend, basically our other mate. We split because his taxis that he takes to go home are in a different area. So we split from him, and me and Londa now walking by ourselves, right? We carry on walking. We're walking with like a bit of pace, not a lot, because CBD is not a safe place, right? You know that. So you're walking like just with purpose. When suddenly Londa, like he, in case you hear that, that's him. Basically.
So you can see what type of character Londa is.
He's that type of character. Flop over all, basically. So we carry on walking, and this flop Londa turns to me and goes, "This guy's following us."
Did he say it out loud?
He said it out loud. So
okay.
I turn. So I don't like turn around immediately, but like I turn, like, and look, and this guy is following us. But now he hears Londa say, "This guy is following us." So basically, the guy then goes, "Listen here, don't talk about me." So basically, the guy goes, "Don't talk about me. I'm standing right here." So then Londa turns around. I'm like, bro. He turns around and says, while we're walking, he turns around and says, "Listen." He doesn't say listen, but he's like, "I wasn't talking about you." And we carry on walking. I'm like, that's all. Don't answer him.
Oh, he's making it worse.
I'm like, don't answer him. And I'm like, let's carry on. And then this guy turns around, like, this whole conversation's in Zulu, by the way. He's like, "Listen, I'm going to stab your twin over there," because everyone thinks we're twins for some reason. I'm 3 years older than the guy, but everyone thinks we're twins. He's like, "I'm going to stab your twin. Don't ever disrespect me." This and that. I'm now like, jeez. I'm like, okay. So then I turn around. I'm like, "Listen, I don't think he meant it like that. We just in a rush to go home." So we carry on walking, and the guy's like, no, listen, I'm going to stab you. Now I'm like, yeah, this is a serious situation, right?
Bro, that's nuts.
So I'm like, you know what? Listen here. I'm like, I'm sure he didn't mean it like that. So this guy now is in front of us. So he does like a light jog, comes in front of us, right? Stops us, and he's like, "Listen, if like, I'm definitely gonna stab this. Oh, I don't want anyone talking to me about like following them and whatnot. You guys are busy whispering here. I don't want any disrespect.
Bro,
Stab
he
you.
was on you.
Now he's heavy. Like big things, right? So then I'm like, can we go and talk? I see like on the corner of my eye, I see like a brother standing doing like street work. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, there's a chance you might get out of this. So I tell him, can we stand closer to this side? And so like I sort of like, so we walk across the street and then we get to the brother. Then Lunda, so then we greet the brother. So I want him to like see what's going on here because the guy's still talking to me. This brother, first of all, I'm sorry, but he didn't do anything. He just he carried on. He carried on, just chilling there, talking to Londa. Now these others are having a conversation. I'm like busy trying to calm this para down. I'm like, listen,
Oh, bro.
is there like I'm like, listen, we just trying to go home. We were doing street work. We didn't mean any disrespect by it. I'm trying to calm this guy down. He's like, listen,
Yeah.
I am a gangster. I'm I'm about that laugh. And he's like,
Is that what he said?
he didn't say that, but he's like, he told me like Zulu and stuff like that. He's like,
Oh,
listen,
okay.
I'll really stab you. And he like shows me a knife, and he's like he lifts up his
He
shirt.
pulled out a knife.
He didn't pull it out. He had a knife. He showed me like
Okay.
he lifted up his shirt, showed me like he has a knife, and he's like, listen, because he's not gonna just pull it out like right in front of like everyone, because there's people around. Like there's a few people around, walking as well. But he's like, listen, I will stab you right here. I'm gonna stab your twin, this and that. I'm like, flop. So then I'm like, listen. So he's like, listen, between the two of you, you better give me something that will ease me off, like that will ease the situation. You better give me something. So now I'm like, okay, so clearly he wants to. Now he's just mugging us, plain and simple. So now I'm like, okay, cool. This guy basically wanted to like. Now I'm thinking to myself, now like everything's pumping. I just got shown enough. Londa's gonna get stabbed. Everything's like it's a hectic situation. Now I'm busy trying to think here. What's gonna happen? Are we gonna die? Are we gonna die in Durban CBD?
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Basically.
Bro.
So I go, okay, cool. What can I do? What can I do now? I'm like, okay, we don't have anything. Like we're just here to do street work. We Jehovah's Witnesses. We don't have anything on us. And he's like,
confusing the situation clearly.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you boys are like little chubby boys here. I know you look like you have money. I'm sure you can get one. I can get 1K out of you too. But back then, listen, I'm like what 16 at the time. I think I was.
Who's carrying a K to?
Exactly. So he's like, let's go to the bank now. I'm sure we can get a K.
No.
I'm like, flop. I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have a bank card with me or anything like that. Meanwhile, so I start thinking, now that he's asking for stuff, I start thinking about everything that I'm carrying. First of all, my mom gave me money in the morning for street work, but she also gave me money. Like she gave me like 300 rand. I don't know. I forgot why she gave me like 300 rand cash, but she gave me like 300 rand cash. And then I had my iPhone at the time, and then and Londa had his BlackBerry at the time. So I start thinking about this. I start thinking about where everything is. Like my money's in my back pockets, my phone's in my right pockets, I have this in the left pocket. I start thinking about all that stuff. I'm like, okay, so I can't say that I don't have anything, because this is what happens. You say that you don't have anything, and then they just like search you. They like start tapping your pockets. They don't want to be fools here. So he's gonna tap me. I'm thinking to myself, if I say I don't have anything, he's gonna tap me, see that I have stuff, take the stuff, and then stab me. I'm dead right there, being an idiot. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? So he goes, oh, pass your phone. And I'm like, oh, I don't have a phone. And then I think, flop, I can't say I don't have a phone. He's going to tap my right pocket and find my iPhone.
Feel your phone.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? This flop of a Olonda, he deserves this. He got us into this mess. I'm like, we don't have an iPhone. We only have one phone between us. And it's an old phone. You don't want it. And he's like, what phone is it? I'm like, it's a BlackBerry. It's an old BlackBerry. He's like, pass it here. So I call Londa over. I'm like, Londa, come here. He's, by the way, he's still talking to that brother. I'm busy getting mugged on the sideline here.
He's on his own mission, bro.
This brother is busy trying to preach here, and he's not focusing on the situation that's happening right next to him. I'm getting mugged here. So I call Londa. I'm like, Londa, come here. Londa comes over. I'm like, pass the phone. Londa takes out his BlackBerry. I give the guy the BlackBerry. I'm like, yeah, that's all.
Londa must have been thinking, what the heck you on my phone for, bro?
Yeah. He's like, Londa's busy. I don't know why he didn't just tell the brother, listen, we're being mugged. First, that's the second thing. Why didn't you tell the brother we're being mugged? Because I stood away from the brother as well. I stood like a little bit away from the brother. And I didn't want to like make it too obvious that we're coming for help. So this guy also now mugs the brother like all of a sudden. So I was like, listen, I stood like a little bit away from him. Londa spoke to him. I don't know why Londa just didn't shoot my brother. We're being robbed here. Like, we're being mugged. Can you help us out?
Yeah, the simple thing to do.
No, Londa speaks to him, has a conversation.
No, bro.
My man. So I'm like, okay.
He deserved his phone to go.
So I'm like, you know what? Come here. Pass your phone. I give the guy the phone. I'm like, that's all we had. And then we got money for the taxi. He's like, how much do you have? And I'm like, we've got 20 rand. He's like, oh, taxi's 10 rand for the two of you. It's 5 rand. Because at that time it was 5 rand to take a taxi for one person. So he's like, oh, that's 10 rand. Pass the other 10 rand. So I'm like, stop.
This man was even taking your taxi fare into consideration.
He's like,
that's quite nice of him, though.
That was actually one thing that I was like, because I did preach to him a bit because I'll try to
diffuse the situation.
So I'm like, listen, we had to preach, and I told him a bit about what we were talking about at the time, and then I even gave him a magazine, bro. He's like, oh, here's a magazine.
And he still mugged you.
He still mugged me. Still mugged me. Didn't give a damn. He's like, it's like, I know you're about God and that, but I'm still gonna mug you. He's like, I'm still gonna get what I want. But yeah, he made off. He's like, okay, pass the phone here, pass the 10 rand. He ran off, right? He ran across the streets.
So he took the phone and the 10 rand note.
10 rand note. By the way, you know what? One thing I'm gonna say, I feel like I came out on top on the situation. I did throw Londa under the bus.
Oh, but he threw you under the bus. Let's be fair.
He threw me under the bus, but then I basically, if you want to make it into a situation, I grabbed his foot, pulled him under the bus, and then hopped out because I left with my phone and the rest of the cash, which was like 200 and something rand left after the guy mugged us.
You did a pretty good job.
I left with my phone. Londa didn't have a phone for another couple months after that.
But he must have been like 14. What does he need a phone for?
That's exactly my point. I didn't have a phone at that age. I'm just going to say that. But yeah.
He spoiled youths.
Kids these days are spoiled, man. They're very spoiled.
But bro, that's a madness. And you left, bro, and you didn't get stabbed.
I didn't get stabbed. After that situation, I walked over to the brother, said hi again. I was like,
you're like, hey.
I'm like, hi, my brother. Yeah. He's like, oh, so what? You have a good chat with that man? I'm like, oh, no, we just got robbed. And he was like, oh, wow. I'm like, my man, we just got robbed. All you have to say is, oh, wow. I'm like, I was just like,
this man did not understand.
And did not understand the situation. I'm like, Londa, let's go, bro. Let's catch this taxi and bow home.
Oh, bro.
When he got home, our maid laughed at us so heavy.
She laughed at you?
She laughed. And she laughed at Londa the most because he didn't have a phone anymore. I told her the whole story. I laid it down bit by bit. She laughed. She laughed her butt off. She was like, "Oh, you
good.
city boys don't know how to handle things,
Handle the streets,
how to
fam.
handle the street." But I'm
You
like,
don't know how to
listen,
act on these
I
streets.
feel like I did very well in the
Bro,
situation.
you did a good job. You could have got
All things
stabbed, and you
considered,
could have got like your money stolen, your phone
I
stolen.
feel like
You could have died.
I feel like I could have handled it a bit better by not letting him mug us at all. But I feel like
Nah, bro, I think you did well. I think most people would have got completely mugged or killed, one of the two. So
yeah,
I think you did a good job, bro. That's a madness of a story.
yeah, but
though.
SA is definitely not the safest place. Remember when this man Jordan got robbed in the UK? Like I
Jordan
feel like
Parker.
Jordan Parker. I feel like that's a flop of a thing because you leave
Jordan
SA
Parker,
not being
South African man, been living here his whole life, doesn't get pickpocketed, goes to London,
most dangerous
bang,
places.
pickpocketed. But apparently London is it's pretty popular for pickpocketing.
Yeah, but like
because all the big cities are. Let's be fair.
He lives in South Africa. You're supposed to always have your head on like a swivel. You're supposed to always know.
Oh, but you know how
like
these white
what's around you. And this man goes into London like I'm safe, you know. It's all G.
Bang.
It's
iPhone
bang.
gone. I had the same iPhone for 5 years now.
It's gone, bro. That's a madness, honestly.
No, but bro, you got lucky, bro.
That's one thing I always say to myself. If I'm in an area that is relatively safe, I wouldn't want to get robbed at all. Like I'm fighting the person who tries to rob me in a safe area. I'm fighting them straight up. If someone tries to rob me in a place like Durban North, I'm throwing hands, man. I'm throwing hands.
I mean, I would probably not to do that. But you know, I'm a lover, not a fighter. So
I would Durban North. If someone says pass your phone,
nah, bro. Durban North can be dodgy too. Trust. Durban North can be. Depends where you are.
Oh, what like?
But no, I get you. I get what you said.
I'm not getting. My parents used to shout at me all the time when I'd bar to Florida Road, and I'd like leave at like 6, 7. You know, when you're like, oh, let's meet up in Florida Road. I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take a walk down there because it was fairly close. So I was like, okay, cool.
Good old days.
I'd just walk. My parents used to always shout at me, bro. Used to always shout at me like, oh, it's not safe. And I'll be like, listen, if someone tries to rob me here, I'm throwing hands because it's very dangerous.
Well, I'm surprised that you're still alive, to be honest with you.
But I'm also not a fighter as well. I'm a lover as well. But like some situations.
Big up lover boys. Oh, well, I'm glad you survived. I'm glad I survived.
Yeah, we
live to tell the tale.
We don't live by that Cape Town YOLO mentality.
Yeah, we gotta be careful up.
We're here for a long time, not a good time.
Exactly. Exactly, bro. So yeah, flip, bro. We've been around the block here. We've been around the block. The second episode of the QuaranTEA, definitely some tea to be absorbed in today's episode.
Yeah, I hope no one thinks I'm a fighter now. Like I'm not.
People are gonna be skeptical now, bro. I'm telling you. You have to be careful what you say to the people.
Now people are gonna be pulling up on me like they did KSR and want to fight because I said I'm throwing hands. Yeah, but episode 3, I'll probably try and show a loving side. Instead.
Episode 3, the loving episode. We'll talk about Wandile's relationships.
Oh, what relationships, bro? Like,
exactly. Save it for the podcast. Anyway, Wandile, I think that was a success to the people listening. Thanks for listening this far. We really appreciate your
if you made it to the end of the podcast.
Made it to the end. Big ups. Remember to hit us up on Instagram at ZachGeo23 and Wandile, plug your at there.
At Wandile_Mavi, but instead of a W, it's a 1. Thank you.
It's a 1. Hit us up on Instagram if you enjoyed the second episode of the QuaranTEA. We're taking tips, suggestions, anything you want to see in the upcoming episodes. We will soon be doing interviews too. More on that. We've got a bit of a list coming, but if you have any ideas on who we should feature on the next episode of the QuaranTEA,
any potential guests that you might be interested in hearing about.
Well, hopefully someone with clout, that would be ideal. But you know what, it is
No,
what
we
it
don't
is.
want any nobodies here now. Like, listen,
Nah, exactly.
wouldn't be too interesting.
Exactly. But thanks, bro. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
We'll catch you later.
We'll catch you later. That's Zach signing off. Except shut up. That's all.
I'm warming up.
Oh, okay. Wow.